Okay, on today's video, I'm going to talk about Google guaranteed ads and what basically is the deal with them. Are they any good? Are they actually pretty good? And ultimately, as you can tell already by the title of this particular video, that I'm not a big fan of the Google guarantee ads. If you're smart and you think about things logically, you will also realize that as well. So I'm going to talk you through my whole thought process of, behind Google guarantee ads and having myself run thousands of different ads on Google up in the last 15 years. This program being out now for several years, in 21 already. What I think about it there, and just to give you a hint in advance, there are some instances where, yeah, it can be pretty good to run the Google guarantee ads. In a lot of other cases, however, not really. So, and then I'm going to explain why, okay? So, as I usually do in my videos here, I'm going to go over a few of the main key points that you need to know if you're going to run Google guarantee ads for yourself, for your business. Having decided, yes, I'm going to run ads on Google, on the Google Ads platform, but Google Rep talked to me about guarantee ads, or I've read about this. Should I use it, or should I use a standard campaign? Should I use a smart campaign? So anyway, I'm going to answer all those questions now on this video. The first thing I'm going to cover here is there technically are two types of Google guarantee. This video is actually only about the one, which is the guarantee ads. There's a Google guarantee program, which there's like a badge that shows up next to your Google Places that says that you're backed and verified by Google, which I have a lot of people asking me about that too. So far at this point in time, unless you have a lot of spend on your account and it can be taken seriously by Google's support staff, I found you can't really get around getting in, beforehand. All the good beta stuff goes out to, people pretty much they choose starting out with, so they can work out the kinks, and then it goes out to everybody else. Sometimes it doesn't go out to everybody else, but for the most part it will. And it's just a waiting game. It's kind of how it is. I would totally do that if I could, of course. But at the same time, if you think about it, just as a side note before I talk about the guarantee ads, if everybody has backing on something, it doesn't help anybody. So the fact that one or two people get it out of your whole market, that's okay. But if it was open to everybody, there's no point, ultimately, right? Makes logical sense there. But anyway, this particular video is about the Google guarantee ads itself. So what is a Google guarantee ad? Again, and in case you stumbled upon this video and don't know what they are, it's essentially a campaign or program that allows you to show up, have your picture show up there on Google and your contact information. So basically, and there's a way for Google to track if somebody calls your number. Every time you get a call, of course, you get charged. Call-only campaigns are a similar version of that. If somebody clicks on your number and ports it into your phone app, then basically you pay just for that. But this actually, somebody's actually got to turn into a quote-unquote lead for you, call straight through the number, being connected for this to count. And so a lot of people say, why am I going to do all this mumbo jumbo about having to have a landing page, and I got to do ad copywriting, and I got to do this and this, ultimately just to get this lead for my AC repair and HVAC repair business. It's complicated. I'm not a marketing person. Why don't I just get the guarantee ads and I'll just pay for the leads? That said, if everybody does it, first of all, everyone can't do it because there's only 3 spots typically for the ad block where you can get that, show up there for your guarantee, if you will. But if everybody, of course, wanted to do it, I can tell you right now, which is already occurring, like anything else that Google rolls out that's new, they start with a low price, and then as it gets more known, the price is going to come up. So, and it's only going to keep coming up to the point where people are bickering and complaining. Oh, why is it so expensive? This doesn't work anymore. And then basically all the people who But in this case, it's everybody, I think, is going to be paying a lot and not really winning. Whereas normally, if you're running your standard typical ads on Google Ads, at least you can just put in the effort to make it better, and then you're the one who wins, and everybody else kind of, 80% doesn't really make anything or loses money. So you don't have that available to you here, and you can enjoy it while it lasts. It is okay, pretty okay right now, and in the instances where it is okay, which I'm going to explain here in a moment. But new programs, as they get more established and mature, they get more expensive. That's just how it is. Anyway, with that said, second thing on my list here, what most people think about the Google Guarantee. Why most people think the Google Guarantee, quote unquote, ads program is the cat's behind. And now that's a kind of a Midwestern saying. So basically, why people think it's so great to run these Google Guarantee ads. Well, there's a couple main points that I can think of that I'll mention here. It's guaranteed, of course. Like I mentioned before, there's a scenario where the average, contractor doesn't know squat maybe, and knows they don't know squat. I'm not picking on contractors. Just want to basically pay for the leads. Even if it's more money, they don't have to do any work. And the fact that they're always, not so much that they pay more money, but they're for sure going to get leads at that. Sometimes, and it's more common than you think, people will set up ads, or they'll even hire a budget agency, which, if you haven't watched my other video about hiring agencies, is worse than nothing out there. Let's just put it that way. They don't get any leads, and this is a way that they'll quote unquote for sure get leads. Of course, you don't pay if you don't get clicks, but a lot of times you get clicks, there's still no leads because you didn't do the whole system right. But the other part of it is just easy use. Okay, I'm going to pay X number per lead. That's it. I'm done, basically. Get everything set up in 10 minutes like most people want to when they initially set up Google Ads, and usually not do too well with it versus the people that spend hundreds of hours over the lifetime of running their campaigns over several years to get the best results in the space, where millions and millions of dollars are waiting for you in profit down the road if you actually go ahead and spend the time and do stuff like I mentioned on my other videos, in terms of that goes way beyond what your competitors are going to do in terms of the sophisticatedness of the setup and catering to your users, so the users want to come to you because your marketing is the best marketing. So anyway, it can be easier. You're for sure going to get leads with that. To the number of leads, we're not talking about you're going to have more leads than anybody else. That's certainly not the case, but you'll get some, of course. Let's just say that. Anyway, moving on here. So why that is not everything. So the cost per lead may be within a adequate amount, let's just say, that you're willing to pay with minimal effort. But here's a big but. Quality of the lead that you're paying for just is not the same as if you were running standard search ads for your business for a local contractor. And obviously this is only Google Guarantee ads at this time, still is only in several categories, plumbing but that is always updating all the time. If you're in an eligible category where in HVAC, where you can run the Google Guarantee ads, when you compare side by side with in those spaces that where you can run Google Guarantee at this point in time, or when you watch this video, you could compare that. So it's not if it's good, it's always in comparison to something else when you're talking about marketing. So if you compare the Google Guarantee ads to the standard search ads, you're not going to have, assuming that you do your marketing right and you follow some of the stuff that I teach my people in my videos here and that I do for our clients to guarantee the results, literally speaking, that when somebody sees an ad at the top of Google and they can actually, instead of just clicking and seeing a standard page with your Google Guarantee contact information on it, they're going to be able to go to a website that you could do anything with. And so with that said, the person who's particularly, let's just say, wanting to hire the best isn't going to just hire anybody. And that's, by the way, my grievance, what I always tell people about companies like Service Magic, which sell you their lead, maybe not, there's a few out there that don't do this, like Nextdoor and so on and so forth, but they sell you the lead, but then they sell it to your 5 other competitors. Thumbtack is Google's product. It technically does it, and I don't want to speak against it per se, because if you're the cheapest person, those leads are great. They get 5 quotes, they get your quote, it's the cheapest, it's extremely profitable. But if you're not the most cheapest one, that person coming in inherently when there's no way to otherwise differentiate from yourself, it's easy to come back to Google and just select another person, but you're going to be seen as a commodity at that point. So with the Google guarantee ads, it's the same way. You're going to be seen as a commodity. And ultimately, if your price is high, there's going to be a disconnect a lot of times for your user. Whereas if you sent people using a standard ad to your website, that you could do things like push all your reviews, which is important to somebody who does want quality, which, again, for the categories that Google guarantee ads work in, either going to want the cheapest or the best. And some people obviously want both, but as they say, what's that saying? You can get it quick, cheap, with quality, but you only get to pick, there's one you'll never get. I think that's the way that saying goes, if I got it right. So essentially, you're going to get the best or the cheapest. I don't want to say it's impossible, but obviously very rare to get both. Something has to bend, and if not, somebody else would be doing it will be doing it. So with that landing page, if it's done the right way, you market yourself the right way there for the type of lead you probably want. Not to say being the cheapest in your market is a bad thing, but obviously only one person can do that. Or it's just a lot of times race to the bottom and nobody wins that you want to be able to sell to the person who doesn't just want the cheapest, or at the very least, maybe they don't want the cheapest, but they don't care who they hire. So for that matter, they probably, it's not the ideal customer you want. Let's just put it that way. And especially if your prices are even a little bit above average, they hire somebody who they thought was going to charge this typical rates. They hear your price. You're going to not only pay for that lead, but you have no opportunity to get the good lead, which now clicked on another ad because somebody like that wanted to go to a website where they could actually do a background or research into the company itself before just hiring them. And of course, there's other things like I'm inviting a strange man, if I'm a woman, strange man into my house. I'm going to want to see who I'm dealing with. It's just obviously the reality of the situation. So the lead you get, our customer base as a whole, and again, this is not everybody, and this is my opinion here, so I'll just leave it at that as far as disclaimers go, that you're not going to get the same quality of lead as if you had the opportunity to sell yourself, quote unquote, in the website that you have. And so with that, I support Google search ads most of the time. So with that said, in terms of the cost per lead, so as far as the cost per lead goes, the cost per lead, if you aren't going to put much effort into your advertising, a Google guarantee ad would actually work better than someone who set up a standard campaign that only spent 5 or 10 minutes on it similarly, or just running a smart campaign. That I know by looking at a few people when I go to audit their campaigns and look at their Google guarantee campaign that they set up, and the kind of results that I know I can get in those markets already, having done 1,000+ campaigns at this point in time, and usually already have niche experience in that same space, that my cost per lead I can be definitely, upwards of twice as low or half the price of what a cost per lead is for Google guarantee, because I do more, like I was saying at the beginning of the video. It's usually, if we want better results and be in that, 1 or 2 spots in your market that makes most of the money, it's just about going and doing a little bit more than everybody else. And that's really, if you want it, that's all you got to really do. Of course, you have to be educated on what it is to do, and that's on my videos. But ultimately, the cost per lead is going to be less, a lot less. Also, if you're going to run a standard ad as compared to the Google Guarantee ad. So not only do you have a cheaper cost per lead if you're going to go ahead and do it's not going to be easier, so that's your drawback here, but you'll have more leads for the same price, and the lead quality overall will be better. So, you know, that said, there's a reason why Google Guarantee, as the last thing I'll mention about Google Guarantee ads, that, you know, for a plumber, for instance, they let you do this because there's not a lot of ways for you to differentiate one plumber from another if your toilet's broken at 12 o'clock. You just want to call somebody, it makes sense. In that particular isolated situation right there, having a website ain't going to affect you as much as, let's say you were in foundation repair, and I know that's not a space that Google Guarantee is available in yet. In terms of the scrutiny, the average scrutiny a user is going to have of their potential company they're going to hire before they hire that person, and more of an effect in terms of having the good lead skew to the end of the Google flow of leads to the ones of the people using the regular search ads versus the Google Guarantee ads. And so in that particular situation, you're going to have even more of a benefit running a standard ad than a Google Guarantee ad. On the flip side, though, I will say, and for something like that, when it's available, I believe they're coming out with more and more markets all the time with this, because it's obviously easy for Google to get paid by people who don't want to spend much time setting up their ads to open it up to people like that, and that they'd rather pay more than work to do a decent campaign setup. That there'll be even more benefit by the time you watch this, if this is in a market where you can ask yourself and say, do I really care who it is? Broken toilet, I don't really care. My basement's flooded, I don't really care. If my foundation needs repaired, I have time to think about that itself, but it's also, if it gets screwed up, I'm in deep crap, right? So just another kind of element to think about. And anyway, that's overall lines up about Google Guarantee ads, when you would use them, when you would not use them. For the most part, for me, I'm never going to use them because I know my campaigns can beat the cost per lead, ultimately end up with a little better quality lead. And of course, in terms of click-through, I'm going to get, there's the last thing I didn't mention here, I'm going to get more clicks through the standard ad than I'm going to also be able to get in terms of the Google Guarantee as a whole, because more people than you probably could imagine, at least in the markets that I've seen it in and measured it in, as I audited, basically before I ran recorded this video here, that as a whole, more people are going to want to click on your standard ad than the Google Guarantee ad bank there as a whole, because, and it makes sense, a lot of people want to see a website. They don't want to just hire quote-unquote anybody. So that said, that gives you an overview of Google Guarantee ads. Good for some people if they don't care what price they're paying and just want it to be quick and easy. For somebody who wants the best results, they aren't getting enough leads from Google Guarantee. This is one easy way to just fix the problem. Of course, you need the effort and the time to do it, of course, and are tired of quote-unquote cheapskate clients or customers. A way to improve that situation as well. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I have a lot of other videos just like this on this channel. You should go ahead and check those out if you're interested about setting up a standard campaign that can potentially replace a Google Guarantee ad for yourself. Ultimately, of course, could replace a call-only campaign ad, which of course, as I did a video about that, the same thing could be said about those, i.e., they don't see your website, so therefore you're skewing to have a little bit more average person than the person who wants to see your website, couldn't do a good job there, and then convince that person to call overall in terms of your overall clientele you're attracting. But all the strategies you need to do, I want to say 99% sure you can beat everyone in your entire niche with the standard ads, get most of the people, get most of the good people, get them for less than anybody else on this channel. I have a lot of other articles on guaranteedppc.com /blog gives you actual step-by-step instructions on how to build these campaigns like I do for our clients. And I mentioned here that we guarantee for our clients to get them results on their campaigns before getting paid. So they have to get results, and I give you the various strategies we use there. You can check those out as well. But other than that, if you have any questions about Google Guarantee Ads, leave a comment down below. I will get back to you and answer any questions you have about that, or anything you think I should have covered here but did not. So with that, I wish the best of luck to you in getting your new campaign set up, or just, of course, your Google Guarantee Ads in your market, hoping that it works for you. If you ultimately still go through with that, like I said, it's not for everybody to do all that extra work, but now you know if and when an opportunity to get a little bit more from your Google Guarantee Ads can happen for you if you do start out with the Google Guarantee Ads yourself.